In this month's video tutorial, I'll be covering the Sync Times reporting page. Specifically, we are going to take a deep dive into the scheduling and exam room utilization report. This report can be reached from the landing page that is unique to your organization. If for some reason you don't have access to this page or have lost the link, email us at Sync Times and we'll be happy to send the link over to you. Your landing page will look something like this page here, with your flow station links on the right where you can see what is happening in each of your health centers, and the reporting links on the left. Click on the scheduling link here. The scheduling report has two parts, and you can switch between the two by clicking on the provider or rooms buttons here. Let's start with the scheduling report. This report is designed to help in the scheduling process. The idea here is to add more patients where the schedule has the capacity to accommodate additional slots. For example, let's say we would like to modify the schedule at site number 28. We'll make sure that we have site number 28 selected here in our filters, and we have selected the last 2 months of information here using the timeline selector. First, before drilling down to see this report by provider, we can already see that the 9 and 10 o'clock hours are typically the busiest, with 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. being typically slower than the other hours throughout the day. These reports use what we call a heat map to show you where the busiest and slowest sections are. Simply put, green means busy and red means slow. We can now see the list of providers that work in this department by using the plus button here. And if you click on the plus button again for a given provider, you'll be able to see the days of the week that that provider works. It would appear that the trend is holding steady for this provider, with 9 and 10 a.m. being the busier hours of the day. There could be a number of different explanations for this trend. It could be the scheduling template, blocked schedules, or even no-show rates. But given these scheduling complexities, we need to identify the slower areas in the schedule and add additional patient slots to compensate for the slower schedules and the no-show rates. In this example, I would probably add an additional slot at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., or even 1 p.m. for this provider on Tuesdays. It looks to me that Wednesdays also has plenty of areas to add additional slots. Thursdays, however, especially in the mornings and later in the evenings, are very busy, so I probably wouldn't touch the schedule on those days. And Friday as well is a slower day compared to the rest, and could allow for additional patient slots in the schedule. Now let's switch over to the exam room utilization report by clicking on the rooms button here. Once again, we're using a heat map where green means busy and red means slow. However, unlike the provider scheduling report, the exam room utilization report uses a percentage of utilization rather than just displaying the total number of patient visits. 100% utilization is calculated as one patient seen per hour for a 4-day work week. So, for example, if a patient visit was started during the 8 o'clock hour at least 4 days a week, that exam room would have 100% utilization during the 8 o'clock hour for that week. Let's go ahead and expand the view again by clicking on the plus button, and we can see the report by exam room. So we have exam room 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through 10. At first glance, it would appear that there are plenty of exam rooms to be used at this health center because we don't see over 100% utilization at any given hour throughout the week for any of these exam rooms. We can also see that exam rooms 6 and 7 are used much less frequently than the others. Given this information, it appears that if the patient population need was great enough, additional providers could be staffed at this health center without overcrowding the exam rooms. As a side note, we have observed from collecting data from hundreds of providers and thousands of patient visits that the ideal number of exam rooms per provider is 2 to 3. By limiting the number of rooms available to a care team, cycle times are decreased and exam room utilization is increased, opening up exam rooms and availability for more patients to be seen, as well as improving the patient's experience. And that concludes the tutorial on the provider scheduling and exam room utilization reports. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.